Do I really got to say anything? Welcome. Thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for still believing in this team, believing in this program. To episode 29 of Fighting Illini Live, a rather somber episode to say the least that we will be having tonight since I was unfortunately at that Indiana game that we will need to talk about tonight, so couldn't get out of post game. We'll be talking about that Indiana game. We'll be talking about where you go from here, what the future looks like for the rest of this season specifically. And then we'll take a look ahead to the USC game this Saturday because, the schedule does not get much easier after that. Of course, tonight's episode is brought to you on the Voice of College Football Network. So, as always, here is a word from our CEO, Mark Rogers.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select a betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.
I do also want to mention before we get into the meat and bones of tonight's very interesting episode that we've also partnered with Vault Sports and their platform Novik, and you can use promo code VOCFBILL. That is VOCFBILL to get $50 worth of Novik coins when you spend $5. Participants must be 21 or older. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, guys. Boy, I'm always very excited to do this show, but I've been dreading this one all week. There is no doubt about it. I was sitting there in the stands. I got this T-shirt on. Actually, this was oh my god, the tag's even on it still because I didn't even want to look at it. Honestly, until right now. But yeah, I got my let's check it out here. I bought this shirt, thinking even if Illinois loses, it'll be a good game because I'm a sucker for a good game, man. If Illinois went out there, played their hardest, and lost by a score or two, I would not be as upset as I am. I certainly would be upset that they didn't win, but where am I going to wear this shirt ever again? Now, I went out there expecting a good game, and this is what we got. If Illinois put an ounce of effort into this game, this shirt would be worth wearing a lot more often. But it might take me a couple of years till I can put this on again after what happened, right? I mean, it's been a couple days now. I know you guys have probably heard just about all of it. But as an Illini fan who was physically present beforehand, the atmosphere was great. Everyone was excited on both sides. There was a decent amount of orange there for a road game, but not so much that it sucked away the whole atmosphere. It was a good mix, I would say. Indiana fans were very good spirited too. I got a lot of comments there in my bright orange sweatshirt, but they were all in good faith. right? Yeah, a lot of good banter, a lot of good jokes back and forth, right? Because I mean, honestly, both fan bases are just really excited to even be in a position, right, where we've got a Indiana, Illinois, a supposed marquee matchup. It was on paper, and it certainly wasn't that once the game got going. I was getting a lot of comments, banter before the game. None of the Indiana fans really said anything to me by the time it hit halftime and onwards. I really didn't get any comments in my Illinois gear. There's really no explanation for that other than they just pitied me. They felt bad, and that's how bad it really was. And people just kind of ignored you at that point. Like, oh boy, that guy's going through it. They kind of gave me my space after that, which is just honestly is just feels like a new low for the Illinois fan base. I mean, we not really been in the national spotlight like this in quite some time, right? So this game was on NBC. It was nationally broadcast, ranked matchup, first time two rivals beating since 1950. And that's the performance that our dear Illini gave us. And obviously, I am very upset about that, but I do want to give some numbers that are very telling in just a second. But you don't really need that in depth of an analysis to know what went wrong here. The biggest issue, not trying to highlight anything actually football strategy related, was the effort, the passion. It just wasn't there. And this team came out flat. I was worried from day one when they got ranked 12 that was going to put a target on their back, and they couldn't handle that pressure. I mean, Indiana has been looking for their marquee win since the start of last year, right? They were not able to beat the can't beat a ranked team allegations. And now they beat Illinois so bad that they still can't beat the allegations, because now people look at our team and say, wow, they shouldn't have been ranked. Why were they ever ranked? I couldn't find an exact stat on it, but there is no way a top 10 team has lost this bad. This would be embarrassing if they lost this bad to Ohio State. This would be bad if they lost this bad to an NFL team. It was so bad. And there was absolutely no heart, no passion. It was the most soulless performance I'd ever seen. As soon as they got down by more than 2 scores, they just folded right over. They just folded over, let it happen, threw in the towel. Oh, well, get them next year. And it was really pathetic. It was heartbreaking, and it was pathetic. See, a team that I have spent all offseason and these last 3 weeks hyping up since February when this channel was launched, come out to such a flat, gutless, soulless, minimal effort performance. And they rolled over the second things got bad. Got out of hand too early. That's what I was saying all week. If you let it get too bad by halftime, then you're not going to be able to come back. They couldn't even put in the effort in the second half. They couldn't even get any garbage time points. They got outscored 14-0 in the third and fourth quarter. The game was well in Indiana's hand at that point. There was no question who's going to win this game by halftime. And they couldn't even scrounge like a garbage time field goal. There was absolutely no effort. Indiana going at 50% still kicked their butt in the second half. They were waiting for an opportunity like this. They really wanted to not only beat you, but run up the score like they like to do. And you just let them do it. They really just let them do it. I wish I could say that there was passion. There was effort on the Illini side, even in that second half. Just come away with something. Don't win the second half. Didn't even try. They really didn't even try. It would have gotten out of hand even earlier, but their one touchdown was an absolute gift. Indiana completely blew a coverage on Colin Dixon. He got a 59-yard touchdown. That was immediately following the block punt, right? Indiana gets that block punt return touchdown by D'Angelo Pons. Right away, the place is going crazy. And then all of a sudden, boom, 59-yard touchdown, Colin Dixon. We're not even 5 minutes into the game in game clock time. This is looking like an all-time classic. At that point, that's what's going through my head. Looked like a shootout. I was predicting a defensive battle. From then on, Indiana was not stopped offensively. Fernando Mendoza played so well against this supposed top 10 defense that all of a sudden he is now in the Heisman conversation. In fact, I think with John Mateer's injury, he is now the favorite to win the Heisman. But I don't even think I heard his name mentioned in the conversation before this week. That's how much of a boost Illinois' pathetic defense gave him. I understand that Xavier Scott was out, but 21 of 23, 267 yards, 5 touchdowns. One guy as good as Xavier Scott is not going to make the difference when you're giving up a stat line like that. Absolutely embarrassing. And really, Indiana did nothing special offensively either. I can't tell you how many times in a row on first down, Indiana would just run a wide receiver screen, and it would get minimum 5 yards. It was every time. They just kept doing it because Illinois had no response. Why would they do anything else? I have never seen that. The Madden CPU snuffs out a wide receiver screen better than Illinois could on Saturday night. It was absolutely pathetic. They really didn't do anything that blew your mind. They were just beating them. They were just pushing them around. Because then after the passing game got going, then they started running on them, and they gave up even more rushing yards. They weren't even really running earlier in the game. Illinois just got tired. They threw in the towel, and they just shoved them around, ran all over them. Indiana was by far the tougher team on Saturday night, and it showed. Only one team wanted to come in there and win. The other team came in scared because of how high they were ranked. There's really not much else to it. Defense, I can't believe they allowed that many points. The defense got torched worse than we were able to torch Western Illinois. We only put up 52 on Western Illinois. They put up 70. They were only one touchdown away from scoring as many points as they did against Western last year when they played them than they did against Illinois' again, supposed top 10 defense. And it wasn't just secondary. It wasn't just a run game. It was everything. It was everything defensively. 579 total yards, 267 in the air, 312 on the ground. 31 first downs, 8 of 11 on third down. That has got to be the worst defensive performance by a top 10 team in NCAA history. And to make matters worse, the offense was not helping them out. Because I gotta say, as bad as the defense got exposed, the offense was even worse. And I think a big part of why the defense was so gassed and getting run all over by the end of it, I mean, one, they didn't care. That was just plain clear as day. But two, is that they were out on the field almost the entire time. Indiana had 40 minutes time of possession. At 2/3 of the game, the defense was out on the field. It was not an even split whatsoever. They were out there a lot. And it was because the offense was doing nothing. They got a gift touchdown. They got a last second field goal at the end of the half. And that was it. They couldn't even be bothered to put up any garbage time points at the end of the game. And there's really only one problem area on the offense. I mean, everyone's stats look bad, but that was because this offensive line is a liability. And they are terrible. They were supposed to be the position you probably could count on the most. Go back to my offensive line preview. Listen to all the experience that these guys have. Listen to how highly these guys are ranked. This was probably the position more than any on the entire team that you knew you wouldn't have to worry about. And they are the worst part of this team. When the offensive line isn't functioning, then the run game and the pass game can't function. It all relies on that. And then the offense isn't doing anything. Then the defense is out there for 40 minutes and they're getting gassed. This offensive line is atrocious, and I don't understand why, because it's been the same guys the last couple of years, and they haven't been like this. There were signs of this well before this game, too. It wasn't that Indiana just pushed them around. They couldn't beat. They were struggling with Western when I watched them play Western Michigan last week. I mean, they still struggled. It wasn't as bad because it's not as elite of a pass rush. But now you do go against an elite pass rush. And, oh, my God, this whole offensive line got completely exposed. I cannot wait for these guys to be gone next year. And I never thought I'd be thinking that. The most reliable guys on your roster have been the biggest letdown. They allowed 7 sacks, 10 tackles for a loss. What are you supposed to do at that point? What is Altmaier supposed to do? He had no time to throw. He's getting sacked 7 times. He's getting pressured twice as much as that. He's 14 to 22, 146 yards on a touchdown. No interceptions. That interception did come, but it was from Ethan Hampton when he got in the game. Altmaier wasn't the problem here. The running backs weren't the problem here. They barely even got any carries because they knew that this offensive line wasn't going to be able to block for them very early on. They knew that this so experienced offensive line could not handle the Indiana pass rush whatsoever. It was obvious from the first drive. Caden Fagan, 5 carries, 18 yards. Khalil Valentine, 6 carries, 11 yards. Luke Altmaier, with all the sacks, minus 27 rush yards. I won't make you do the math. That is 2 rush yards. That is 2 rush yards. Indiana had 312. You tell me which team you think wanted it more. 1 of 10 on 3rd down. So embarrassing. And I go on this rant. I point out these things because I really do care about this team. I wasn't just trying to hype them up to get views. I really did believe in this team. It was heartbreaking to see how much they just didn't care. The only positive that we can look for as Illini fans is that this lights a fire under them. And they show up against USC on Saturday because we're in the national spotlight again against another ranked team. Now we're ranked 23rd. I personally think that they shouldn't be ranked when they likely lose to USC. Again, unless this ignites some kind of fire, because I know the talent is there. The talent, the experience is there. I just don't know why the energy, the effort isn't there. I don't know. Well, it's time for my Shining Illini, as I typically do. So had to try to find some positives from Saturday night. My third star goes to Colin Dixon, who the things I said about effort, passion, it don't really apply to him. He played his heart out. He had 4 catches, 86 yards on a touchdown. He had that 59-yard touchdown. I also specifically remember him making a really nice diving grab when they were driving at the end of the half to help them get into field goal range. It was meaningless, even at that point. But at least he cared. So for that, Colin Dixon, I give you the third star. You deserved it. I can't say there's anyone else who truly did. Again, I don't give any blame to Altmaier or the run game or any of the other receivers. But with those stat lines, I know it's not their fault, but it's still pretty hard to give them a star for it. If you guys know what I mean. The second star would go to the Indiana band. I think we're pretty deserving. They played some How to Train Your Dragon music at halftime. There was a really cool drone show, and that was probably the highlight of the night for me. I'm not going to lie. So second star. Good job, Indiana band, on some great music choices. Didn't make it better, but didn't make it worse. And enjoyed that more than the actual game, I got to say. The first star would have to go to the rain that came in the fourth quarter. That gave me an excuse to go run into the tunnel and hide my face. And then I didn't have to watch most of the fourth quarter. I only came back out. It stopped raining about 2 minutes left in the game to watch Indiana take a knee. Those are our stars of the game. You argue with a brick wall if you think that those top 2 are undeserving. So it just begs the question: where do you go from here? Which is really our next sort of a subtopic, really. I know that was a 20-plus minute rant. And there's a lot of things that I wanted to say that I have to dip out on just for the purpose of time. I guess we'll hit this more next week's episode because I do want to talk about USC. But, that was pretty much a must-win game. And they got beat so bad that I can't see a path to the playoff for them. The only way they get in is if they win out, and that includes a win against Ohio State coming up in a couple weeks. And then you have to win out, and you have to hope Indiana collapses as well. Right? So there's absolutely no way now that you could justify Illinois being in and Indiana being out after such a catastrophic beatdown. Even if Indiana does really fold the rest of the year, which I don't think is going to happen. They look fantastic and they deserve all the respect in the world. And they deserve this. They played great. That was the marquee win they were looking for. And I wish nothing but the best for them, truly, because if they start playing bad, geez, what does that make Illinois? But I don't think that'll happen. I think they'll be just fine. You just got to hope that this was a wake-up call that this team needed and they can turn it around. Realistically, I'm not sure if they beat USC, honestly, at this point. I'm not even sure if they beat Washington coming up in a couple weeks. The rest of their schedule isn't that tough. And I think there's enough talent on this team to still come away with 9-10 wins. But we'll just have to hope. We'll see where this USC game lands, honestly. So if you can beat USC, you'll at least stay in the rankings. But if you lose at home to USC, I don't see a way that you keep the Illini in the top 25, which is just so disappointing because this is the team that we've been waiting for years. But I guess we'll talk about this more next week. I want to talk for these last couple minutes here about the USC game coming up this Saturday because it's another big one. Not quite as big, but I think now that what's happened, this is a big one. We're really going to find out who this team is now because that was not the team. That was not our team that was out there on Saturday night. I don't know who that was. but we look ahead. That's all you can do now. You can't harp on it. You got to look ahead. You got a big top 25 matchup still waiting for you in front of the home fans this time, which should be a boost against the USC Trojans. And they've been very good as well. I am very scared, especially seeing how this defense got torched. I am very scared. The Illini open as 6.5-point underdogs at home against these Trojans. It opened at 1.5 actually, so that shows the trend against Illinois, and I can't blame them. USC has been playing really well, and Illinois just had one of the worst top 10 losses in recent memory. USC's been great. They're 4-0. They're 2-0 in the Big Ten. 73-13 against 73-13 against Missouri State. Pardon me, it feels. There it is. I was waiting on that for like 2 minutes. 59-20 over Georgia Southern. Then they went at Purdue, 33-17, and then 45-31 at home last Saturday against Michigan State. Their offense in particular has been very good, and that's going to be a big test for this defense. Why was that a fluke? Did Indiana really catch them off guard? I'm really worried, though, because USC's receivers are far better than Indiana's on paper. Mekhi Lemon is going to tear up this secondary if Omar Cooper Jr. could do that against the Illini. No disrespect to Omar Cooper Jr. either. These receivers this is the best they have the best wide receiver duo in the country. I thought it might be Ohio State going into the season, but there's absolutely no doubt about that, and I'm really worried. I want to believe in this team again, but after what they did last Saturday, I can't see a world where they actually pull it out and win this game. And if they do, I'm going to be real excited. But even if they do, the outlook is still pretty bleak. But you can only take it 1 week at a time, and you can't harp on the past. You got to see what you can do. This is another national game as well. USC's been great. They deserve to leapfrog Illinois in the rankings. Again, I'm surprised Illinois is still ranked. I really am. It was so bad. The whole college football world is laughing at us, laughing at me for believing in this team. And they just really let us down on Saturday, man. They really let this fan base down. So it'll be big noon kickoff. Champaign will get the feature, and the Illini do have a chance to brighten their image in the national spotlight too, because I know USC is just also a huge brand, right? I'm sure this little 5-minute snippet I'm going to post is going to get a bunch more USC comments, because my old preview on USC got a bunch of hate comments, and I love it. Hey, I love it. You're passionate about your team. I'm passionate about mine. I originally predicted that Illinois was going to take this one. I was really high on Illinois' experience because USC is a very young team compared to Illinois. But clearly our most experienced positions are the biggest liabilities after that performance that the offensive line had against Indiana. I mean, I don't even know why they put them out there at that point. I mean, it was like they weren't even there. Indiana was just coming right through. The USC defense is not as strong as Indiana's, from what I know about them. But if Allmeyer has no time to throw the ball, these rushers have nowhere to go. It's not really going to matter what they do. It all depends on if the offensive line is going to show up and if the secondary is going to show up against these big name receivers. That will be the key to the game for the Illini. I'm yet to see any proof that they will actually be able to do these things against USC or against anybody, really, after last week. But you have a chance now to turn the tide. 11 a.m. this Saturday. Are they just going to roll over, let the rest of the season just walk on by now that they lost to Indiana? Or are they going to show up and do something about it? I guess we'll see you this Saturday. Thank you for watching, and thank you for staying loyal to this team somehow after that beatdown. Thank you for spending your Wednesday night with me still. I do appreciate it, guys. I know the tone is very different. But yeah. Please give this a like. Hopefully my rants will reach the team and inspire them. Just like when you yell at the TV and they hear you. I guess I have a little bit better of a chance in that. But yeah, this Saturday I'll finally be actually in one place during the Illini game. I won't either be there or be traveling, so I will finally be able to get out a timely post-game reaction Saturday afternoon. Illinois plays at 11 a.m. Central and noon Eastern time on Fox. Big noon kickoff against the USC Trojans. 15 minutes after the game ends, I will be giving my post-game thoughts. Next week, we will take a look ahead once we know the result of this next game as well, of kind of where the Illinois season stands now, where we thought it would be, what they can do now. And then we'll look ahead to Purdue, which will be the next opponent following USC. So thank you for joining me tonight. As always, ILL.